What's going on, guys? Well, shit, I'm not gonna put some sprinkle on the cupcake. It looks horrible right now, but at least there are some good news in this video. We're just gonna talk about the probabilities. We're gonna look at where we should be in the cycle and the worst case scenario. So buckle up. Right now, the fear and greed is about 52, so it's still not low enough, which is kind of scary when you think about it. At this point, honestly, it feels like we should be in the red zone or minimum the orange zone, but based on the sentiment right now, we could technically still have more downside. So hopefully we have a nice rebound and we don't go back in a bear market. Honestly, if we do, just pretend like you never bought crypto. Anyone that asks you about crypto, just lie, just say that you don't know what they're talking about. You never bought Solana at 250. You don't believe in Bitcoin, and just save yourself. If not, people at your job are just probably gonna make fun of you for the rest of the year. Okay, so for me personally, this is where I'm at, okay? When red candles no longer phase you, this is where I'm at. Also, my average is pretty low. I have been adding, a little bit of size in the past couple of weeks, but overall, I'm still up, but I did lose the majority of my unrealized gains, full transparency. But right now, I'm like a Jedi. I'm like Master Yoda. Hopefully this is not the end of this bull market, and I'm gonna show you why I personally don't believe so, but I could also be completely wrong. So this 2024 halving is probably the worst start that I personally have participated, right? This being my third cycle, this is really not a good start for a halving, especially when you look at all the uncertainty when it comes to the economy and the macroeconomy. Bigger picture, it looks horrible, especially if we do end up having stagflation, which is probably the worst case for any market, not just crypto, but it's going to be the worst case scenario for the stock market, bond market, gold, which will all affect real estate as well, which also will just completely nuke the entire crypto market. Forget it. Just pack your bags, leave, save yourself, go on vacation, and just pretend like you never bought crypto. Okay? Pretend like you never listened to my videos either. All right, so there's still some good news, okay? So right now, all the macro bears and all the best contra indicators on the market are all coming out of the basement, right? We have Jim Cramer turning extra bearish on Bitcoin. That's a good sign. We have Twitter fear mongering accounts also coming out of the basement, right? So this guy has never been right, missed every single leg up, and now is calling for the collapse of Bitcoin. So that's also good. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Peter Schiff, also coming out. Now he's doing some technical analysis on the price of Bitcoin. Very bullish. And never forget, a wise man once said, Bitcoin always look dumpiest before pumpiest. So hopefully that's where we are. If not, yeah, we're probably not going to be able to go on vacation. Also, last very good news about the bigger picture macro economy. The treasury is buying back their bonds, guys. So basically what they were doing in 2020 when they shooted a bunch of liquidity in the system, well, that's exactly what they're doing again. So that's a good positive sign. So hopefully they're able to save the markets. Also looking at the probability of Bitcoin, right? If you guys recall, we were right here. We were at the second standard deviation. Probabilities moved a little bit more to the downside, obviously, because we kind of had this big dump. But at least the good news is this is looking like a reversal pattern, right? So we have that big flush, which is basically called a ABC pattern, if I'm not mistaken. And right now, the good news is we're very close to the third standard deviation, which is the red line. And so personally, I'm expecting a reversal to the means again, which is the green line right here. My target medium picture is still 81, 85K. So hopefully we get it. Obviously, we've been creating lower highs and lower lows. But this is starting, in my humble opinion, to look like really that last flush that we needed. We're also bouncing on the pi moving average also. So we just hit it. And if we look in the past, guys, this has been a very good level of support when we're in an uptrend, and a very good level also to buy the dip when we are below it when we're in a uptrend, which we technically still are in a bullish market structure. Also looking at the MACD, the momentum indicator, right? We've been red on the daily, guys, for so long. It's been more than a month now, if I'm not mistaken. since we turn red. The trend is going to change at one point. So at one point, I'll end up being right about the MACD crossing back to the bullish level and having a beautiful leg up. And also looking at the volatility indicator, right? This is basically telling us that it's a buying opportunity. If you guys see, every time it turns green for the past 6 months, those have been beautiful dip buying opportunity, especially when we combine it with the 90-day MVR Z-score momentum. We can see that every time we dipped below this blue moving average line, it's always been a very good time to buy the dip on Bitcoin. And right now there's a lot of retail and boomers and new participants that bought Bitcoin at the top, when it was 73K, when they saw in the news that everyone and their grandmother was calling 150K per coin on Bitcoin at the end of the year, right? But they weren't looking at internals and indicators, and they were kind of buying at the wrong time when we were way overextended above this blue line. So obviously you never chase. So also looking at the Pi cycle, nothing really changed right now. Like I said, we're kind of bouncing on the 111 moving average of the Pi cycle. So we should find a bottom very soon, in my humble opinion. We also are not at the extremes yet where you really want to sell all your Bitcoin. MVRZ score also, guys, we're right back to the level 2. So it's really not a good time, in my humble opinion, right now to capitulate and sell, except if you need the money and other circumstances in your life, or example, you have too much size. So that's obviously something to be concerned. Like the worst case scenario, guys, is example, if we have like a macro event, right, then maybe we could kind of redo what we did here, right? So we went in the green here, and then we bounced, went to these levels right here, right? And then we basically got rejected to then go back down to this level, right? So that would basically mean that we would basically have a crash back to that blue line right here, which would be the 200 weekly moving average. I think that would be pretty severe. So it's still a possibility. In my humble opinion, I don't think it's likely. So shout out to El Crypto Prof. So this is also where I think we are in the cycle. So right now, as you guys can see, we're not at those levels where you want to panic sell yet. So I think that we're still in the accumulation phase post halving before we really have that big leg up that would bring us about to this ballpark, which is way lower, by the way, guys, than most people are anticipating. And this is where I personally have tuned down where I think Bitcoin could go. I honestly was in the camp of seeing some crazy numbers for Bitcoin for this cycle. But at this point, honestly, looking at the data, I'm seeing more about, between 110 and 120,000 a coin, where we might top for this cycle. Honestly, it's still going to be a great return, but I don't think it's going to be as good as people think, especially if we have a recession next year. That's a whole other topic of conversation. I don't see it happening this year, because the yield curve inversion is not back up above the zero lines. Also looking at my third favorite top indicator for Bitcoin, the Mayer multiple. Again, guys, we just fell back to these levels where it's basically not a bad time to buy the dip and to accumulate again. So we're no near topping level of euphoria like we had in the prior cycle. Could this cycle be different? That is a possibility. So that's it, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's not the end for Bitcoin, but honestly, it's not looking good, to be quite honest. It's not doing what I was expecting it to do, but at the end of the day, that's what the market does, and a lot of people were too bullish. There was way too many crypto nerds on Twitter. And also, guys, when you start seeing this guy on TV, okay, Pompliano, okay, I have nothing against him. He's a hardcore Bitcoiner. I agree with everything he says, but Jesus Christ, this guy's the worst contra indicator like on the mainstream media. When you see this guy run, okay, and then the last contra indicator, okay, is Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, this guy is the worst market timer I've ever seen in my life. He's so horrible. And this guy, man, I knew it. When I saw this guy bullish on Bitcoin, Jesus Christ, guys. Like literally a month ago, this guy started tweeting and talking about Bitcoin, talking about how much Bitcoin he buys and how much he has. And man, I knew that, my God, that was a bad omen. Like, I'm telling you guys, there's always the same pattern. When this guy turns bearish on Bitcoin, that's the bottom. All right, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Take care. Have a good one. Stay blessed, and let's hope for the best.